Do you want to know how family bonding is necessary for happiness in life? Because it is. It's vital for happiness in life. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family relationships. I've raised 4 children of my own, as well as many foster children, and I can tell you, family bonding is a key ingredient to happiness. In this video, we're going to be talking about that key ingredient, bonding, and we're going to be talking about what happens when the bonding is working and when it's not working, and what we can do to improve our bonding. If you want your children to have happy lives, teach them to love the people around them. Teach them how to bond to the people around them. And the way that we learn to bond to people around us is in our family dynamic. The family is the place where we learn to care about people, serve people, and connect with people. In fact, if the family does not have healthy bonds, the child will most likely go into teenage years and young adult years or even into adulthood not fully understanding what makes a healthy bond. Because bonds with friends are very transitional. It's like, oh, I was friends with that person, but now I'm friends with that person, and I don't really talk to that person, and this person's kind of mean to me now. And so everything in the social dynamic for children at school is very temporary, transitional. I know they think it's going to be permanent, but we all know it's not, right? I mean, unless your town is small enough and nobody ever leaves. It's just really not that way. You move on and those people are long gone. But they don't know that. And so if that's their only exposure to social development, to bonding with people, they can actually get very confused about what true bonding is supposed to be like. True bonding sometimes happens during the sad moments, the boring moments. Just being with a person is a time and a moment of bonding. When you have a really solid relationship, you can be with a person in a car and say nothing and have an amazing time. Now, I say that as an extrovert, mind you. I can sit with my husband somewhere, say nothing, but we totally get each other because we're so bonded. In fact, the same thing can occur with my children because we have such close family bonds. So how did we create those close family bonds? What has been the result of their family bonding? Well, they have found great relationships. 3 of my 4 children are married, and they are very happy in those relationships. In fact, they are doing well in work, in their social and church lives as well. So truly, you can see that when a family bonds well together, that just lays a foundation for future good bonding with other people. We're going to talk about bonding problems and how to improve the bonding in our families. But first, click the subscribe button now. And don't forget that notification bell. If you do those 2 things, then when I have a new video that comes out, you'll get to see it. The key ingredient to happiness actually is bonding. In fact, there's a book that was written by a Harvard professor called The Happiness Advantage. And in there, he wrote that having a good bonded relationship with someone, so that healthy type of a bond with someone, is the #1 factor in a person's happiness. And when I read that, I thought, of course it is. We are social people. Humans are meant to be with other humans, and we feel the most fulfilled when we know our life is useful to somebody else. And when we bond to another person, then we know they need us, they value us, and that gives our life purpose and meaning just by being important to somebody else. This is why people do attention-seeking behaviors, because if they're not getting that bonding and connection, they're finding a way to do it. Sure, it's a fake way, it's a very temporary solution, and it's not real bonding, but they're trying something. This is why parents have to be conscious all the time of how they are bonding with their children and what that bond feels like. And if the bond does not feel right, they've got to fix it. So what does it look like when the bond doesn't feel right? If a child is putting up emotional walls, they won't talk to you, they don't want to be with you, they're constantly in their device instead of talking with people, then you know you've got bonding problems. If you're correcting them and they don't take any time to understand, they just go fine, fine, and they're just going to accept the consequence, but they don't really have any change of heart, then you know you've got a relationship or a bonding problem. And that means that you must work on it. So let's talk about what to do there. The first thing that you can do to improve that bond is just be honest about what you want in life. What type of a relationship or bond do you want to have with the person? In this book here, Roles, The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success, the people in the story have a hard time with their bond. The children don't care about the parents. They're using the parents. They're entitled. I shouldn't say don't care. I'm sure they love their parents. But in this particular case study, the children really act like they don't care, that they're indifferent. They don't want to help with things. They're very entitled. They just want to do what they want to do. And the parents are frustrated because they feel like they're not getting through to the children, the father in particular. So he tries something and it totally fails. And then he realizes that he needs to have conversations with his children about who they even are in the family, their roles. What does it mean to be a father? Who is that? I'm not talking about a list of responsibilities, but who is a father to his family? Who is a mother? What is the role of mother to her family? She's the heart and hearthstone of the family. Everybody gathers around mother. No matter if she ever made dinner or not, they gather around her as a source of wisdom. Children turn to their fathers for acceptance and their mothers for wisdom. That doesn't mean they don't ever go to father for wisdom, because fathers can be pretty wise too. But especially initially, mother is going to be the one guiding them down their life's journey most of the time, telling them what to do, what not to do, and they're going to follow it until they get old enough. And if they feel accepted by father, they will follow his example. If they don't feel accepted by father, they will have bad relationships with other people. So father showing acceptance of his children is huge. This father was having a hard time accepting his children. He needed to really talk with them about what it meant to be a provider and a protector for that family. What did it mean for him as a father to nurture and teach and care for and lead his family? He needed to have that conversation with them and then talk to them about who they were as children too. So have a conversation with your children about who they are. Maybe even read this book together as a family. You can find it at teachingselfgovernment.com. It's called Roles, The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. Read this book as a family or read it yourself and do what the family did in it, but discuss the concepts in here so that you can get on track with where you're going in your relationship. So for bonding, you have to know who you are, right? That's number one. Who are you and why does that even matter? Okay? And then where are you going? Where are you going as a group? So in my TSG parenting course, I talk about creating a vision. I call it a 20-year vision. If your children are older, you might do a 10-year vision or maybe even a 5-year vision, but this vision of who you're becoming as a group of people, what you want your relationship to be like. There's a way to set up that conversation in such a way that everybody invests in it, buys into deciding where you're headed as a family. So that's important too. You've got to have a little bit more of a big picture view. Everybody in a family can get caught up in details that fast because there's so many details that are part of family life. Then the other thing that's really going to be important is how are we going to solve our problems? How can we solve problems and remember who we are and where we're headed? Well, we've got to make sure, number one, we don't take things personally. So that goes to a tone element in our family. That means we have to accept that people will make mistakes. They've got to accept parents will make mistakes. Parents have to accept children will make mistakes. And then there has to be a way that we navigate those mistakes in a calm and effective manner. That doesn't mean that we just go, oh, well, it's a mistake, who cares? That's not good parenting. We do need to do good teaching, training, and correcting, but it doesn't have to be done in an emotional way that would damage the bond or the relationship. A person can feel closer to their children during and after a correction than they even did before if the correction is understood, it's low anxiety, totally calm, and everybody understands the purpose of the correction. That is possible if you teach your children ahead of time exactly how you'll do a correction. I talk about that in my course, my TSG parenting course, and I'll give you a reference for where you can find more about that after this video. But there's another thing that I want to mention. Everybody needs to feel invested in the relationship or in the family dynamic. So I highly recommend having regular meetings together as a family. In our family, we have couples meetings, family meetings, and individual parent-child mentor meetings. These meetings are times where we have open conversation about things. We might make rules or legislation as a family. We try to solve problems together, plan service projects, and fun activities as a family. These are times that bring us together so that we can actually practice being that type of family that we're planning for 20 years in the future. Making sure that your family regularly gathers together, not around a TV, but around each other, that you discuss openly and you're deliberate in your conversations. Deliberate conversation is the highest level of conversation. Meta-communication is when you talk about what you're going to talk about before you talk about it. That is the highest level of conversation. So when you have a family meeting with somebody, you say, okay, we're going to have a meeting where we're going to discuss how we're going to talk about other things in the future. That's you talking about when you're going to talk about what you're going to talk about. That's meta-communication, high level. It removes emotional and it gets everybody thinking logical and planning for success. It also strengthens relationships because it's completely respectful if done right. Now, I know some people try to have family meetings and they're not done respectfully. I can help you with that too, but that's another video for another day. If you want to know more about all the things that I've been talking about here that can help you bond more, create more happiness for you and your children in the years to come, then I highly recommend that you watch my next video, which is called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. That video will give you more nuts and bolts of self-government and give you an idea of where you can go from here.